was a member of the MPP in the constituency and an informant to the police in the Ashanti region. Audu Sule was remanded by a Kumasi Circuit Court on robbery charges after he was arrested by personnel of the anti-robbery unit of the Ashanti Regional Police Command. The Asawasi MP, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak, who is unhappy with recent events, recounted how NDC members in his constituency have been intimidated by personnel of the anti-robbery units. He alleges the police administration in the Ashanti region allows itself to be used by the MPP to foment trouble in the constituency.
You are in power. You can choose to connive and work together with the police to think that you humiliate people. We are assuring you can't cower us. We will work within the laws. We will operate within the laws, make sure that we protect our constituency, do whatever it takes within the law to ensure that victory is secured for Aswansi and for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, no doubt about that. We want to encourage the police to dissociate themselves with operatives within the MPP, because all the things that happened, the threat that went to Scorpion before, we'll make sure that you don't vote sitting home. We'll make sure that you are in prison. We'll make sure all those things we've heard. We have also forwarded a lot of complaints to the police. They don't act, but they are quick to act on a complaint from an MPP. I don't think that is fair.
While urging NDC members in the constituency to remain calm over the recent developments, he hinted of summoning the Interior Minister to Parliament to answer questions on the operations of the anti-robbery unit of the Ghana Police Service.
I filed a parliamentary question on this anti-robbery unit, and it is my hope that the Interior Minister will find time to come and answer. But I know the time has run out because Parliament is rising next week for the election. Even after the election, I can assure you that it's something that I'll pursue, because I want to believe that when the matter gets to the floor, other examples from other MPs will come out.
Now, 15 persons stand in trial in connection with the killing of a National Identification Authority employee at Sangwili in the Saboba district of the Northern Region have been remanded into police custody for the second time to reappear on November 5th, 2020.
Two of the suspects are still at large and a bench warrant has been issued for their arrest. One of the suspects has been charged with murder and the other with rioting.
We'll move on to some other stories. And some employees of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital who are occupants of the health facilities accommodation unit are demanding an immediate halt and the deduction of 10% rent allowance from their basic salaries.
According to the group, there have been monthly deductions since June 2020, which does not equal the deteriorating housing units they reside in. Addressing the media, chairman of the concerned residents and staff of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Benjamin Ampa, said the charges must be reviewed as soon as possible.
The Kolebu Teaching Hospital's housing units were developed in the 1960s to provide residential accommodation for staff of the health facility. Currently, a total of 818 of the houses are in active use, and they are largely occupied by medical staff and staff of other health agencies. The housing units has deteriorated, with some even becoming uninhabitable due to the lack of maintenance. In this regard, management in July 2020 made deductions of 10% rent allowance from the basic salaries of workers for renovation works. According to the workers, who were clad in red armbands in protest against the move, the deduction does not match up with the deteriorated conditions of the houses.
The Deputy Minister, in his response, said that he was aware of plans to institute such a policy in his tenure as the board chairman of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and that those deductions were precipitated by a query from the audit service and plans to renovate the staff residence. He, however, acknowledged that those deductions started when the COVID-19 had not struck and was unaware that the deductions were going to take effect the time it did.
They say, despite assurances from the Ministry of Health to address the situation, the deductions are still being made from their salaries.
In contrast to the assurances from the Deputy Minister of Health, the deductions are still ongoing. However, we want to put on record that there was an attempt to portray that something is being done to redress the issue, as we cited a letter dated 5th August 2020, written and signed by the Minister of Health and addressed to the Ministry of Finance to request the Minister of Finance, to ask Controller and Accountant Department to immediately suspend the 10% rent deduction.
The workers called for an immediate suspension of the deduction and a refund of all the deducted amounts from July 2020.
These are our demands on management. 1, to stop the deduction immediately. This we give them up to the end of the week, 2nd November 2020. 2, to refund all deducted monies from the month of July to October to our members before 14th November 2020.
Now, this is the Election Bureau, and this is Citi Newsroom. When we come back, we'll bring you the story of some Ghanaian men struck with breast cancer as the world celebrates October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
We have more on that story and others. Don't go away.
Sunana Abdulrazak. Last week, I received a message from Bet Planet. Come on, now win golden ticket. Nadanje Injin Saya, ma Mercedes Benz na. Omba ku yada kuma gashi nan ga sunana kai. Bangaren gora kaman gaskiya ne. Mun na so ce na gode Bet Planet. Na gode ma kowa.
If you win, no one win like Bet Planet. My baby, hold you low. If you win, no one win like.
Close Up Deep Action with antibacterial mouthwash formula and deep cleaning gel. Close Up Deep Action. Enjoy long-lasting fresh breath.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, my life could have taken two very different paths. The SHS path depended on how much money my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other part is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have a name. He's a boy.
Instead of depending on others, I will stand on my own feet and help my family. Free SHS is where my dreams for a better future and the dreams of thousands of young girls become a reality. Don't let NDC take it away from us. Vote for NPP and give all Ghanaian girls a chance for a better future.
You've come a long way from where you started, and in that time, you've upgraded a lot. But have you upgraded your entertainment? When you upgrade to GoTV Max, everyone gets an upgrade. Football fans can up their game with La Liga and get all new action with the NBA and NFL on a brand new channel, ESPN. The kids will go crazy for the most popular kids shows, and family night is sorted with blockbuster movies on TNT. Plus, our local celebrities will keep you connected to your continent, while our general entertainment channels will take you international. There's a whole lot for the whole family when you upgrade to GoTV Max. So make the move today and give your family an upgrade they'll love. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Rigworld Solutions. Forging the frameworks of Ghanaian industry. Engineering solutions from the heart of Takrade, Kejebil. At Rigworld Solutions, we manufacture industrial bolts and nuts, fasteners, hoses and fittings for the extractive and petrochemical industries. World-class products with local expertise. Locate our factory in Kejebil off the Takrady Takwa Road. Call 0302 949917 or 0540 107504. Email enquiries at rigworldsolutions.com. Rigworld Solutions, crafted in Ghana, engineered for the world.
You're welcome back. Now, the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress NDC for election 2020, John Dramani Mahama, has assured the people of Kpong that his administration will complete all abandoned roads and water projects should they give him the nod on December 7. Over the years, residents of Kpong have threatened not to allow any political party campaign in their area until their roads are fixed, claiming the unmotorable road is becoming a threat. The former president, who was speaking to the chiefs and people of Kpong on a one-day tour of the Greater Accra region, said his administration will give the area a facelift.
This is a Bible for Eba. You say Punto de Ayadia Dada. Makacha Nikon say Eba. Mukwanya free tour Eba Konga. Yebesi Quino. And a Quina, a free barrier Eba. Ye be a port no munti o ma ye kwan ni bi abedru baby enti ye beto aso na abedru konkrom na ya ye krom town roads so na yes town roads so se na be ya kama e bi say ukọ baby a o take kondi a na ense fata se akwan no etise enti endi se aban ba ye be ye enti sampunto no yebeye yenim se konso ensu asem hamu enti mekache ni konse yeba nunsuo no yebe expand no se na be ya obi abenya ensu no bia no.
Now, did you know that the population of birds can help predict devastating occurrences like floods? While the presence of water birds, in particular on wetlands, help researchers predict flooding and warn policymakers as well as citizens of imminent danger.
Now, the University of Ghana Center for Africa Wetlands has been dedicated to counting water birds over the last 30 years for this and other purposes, as Citi News' Caleb Kuda reports.
We saw your people, they were counting birds. They were counting birds.
Why do they do that?
Exactly.
Because we believe that the migratory birds are sentinels of environmental parameters. They migrate long distances from, say, Greenland all the way to Ghana, and they pick up cues in the environment, and changes in a habitat will impact on the bird population.
Professor Ya Ntiamwa Beidu is the chair of the Center for African Wetlands. Earlier, I joined her team to experience how the bird counting is done at the Densu Basin. I learned the names of some birds I never knew existed, not to think of existing here in Ghana. Some of them are African skimmers, terns, spare-winged plovers, black-winged stilts, common sandpiper, waders, among others. Seeing and hearing the birds chirp was simply surreal. Alfred Ali has counted birds for more than 30 years.
I'm using this counter. It's a counter. When I look through the telescope, then the telescope draws the bird near to me. And then I count them. Over the years, first we used to have a lot of waders, terns here. But this time, their numbers have reduced. We don't know what is the problem.
Dr. Jones Kwate is part of the team counting birds. He explains the importance of birds to fishermen.
Just behind me, you could see these birds. These are known as black terns, and these are important for the fishes because they use them to identify hotspots of fishing activities. So when you find the birds there foraging, it means that you have some fishes in the water. So these are very, very important. They are the terns, and we have different species of the terns. But over the years, we've realized that the numbers of the terns have gone down drastically. And these, we've over the years also observed that some people actually do hunt the tern species.
However exciting the bird viewing was for me, I was simply exhausted after 4 hours of walking.
This place they are Ungo. I'm tired.
The team continued the counting while Ni offered to show me how a development in the Densu Basin is affecting the waterbirds.
This is a settlement at the coast. So behind Pambros we have these settlements, Viaman, Cliffy and the others. So ideally these places are not supposed to be inhabited. But then we have some people who were here originally, and then there have been other squatters or settlers that have moved in as well. So this is a whole community on its own.
Riaboman is a slum built in water trapped between the Densu Delta and the sea. The developments are scattered and unplanned. All it takes is a little shower and the township is submerged. But more structures are still under construction. The roads are impassable. But Jonathan Tete has lived here for 5 years and tells us how they get by. Not all human activities are a danger to the birds, like these salt ponds. Dr. Jones explains.
Wherever you have the salt ponds, it's like you have a collection of water. You could have some fishes in the birds feel that it's safer to forage in such areas. So these ones are okay. But the negative anthropogenic activities could be related to wood cutting or firewood collection. The most important one here is development for residential facilities. You know, a wetland is actually naturally like a sponge that helps to control flood. So whenever there is flood, it holds up the water and discharges it gradually into the sea. But the more you build closer to the wetland, reducing the floodplains, the areas where it's supposed to contain the water, then the very core area where you are supposed to have, let's say, the ecological activities is being affected.
However, the negative ones are even more devastating, threatening Ghana's 5 coastal Ramsar sites. This trend, Professor Ntiamwa Beidu argues, hasn't always been so.
You have a place like Sakumo Lagoon, which was considered sacred by the people of Tema Newtown. There is one species of heron, the black heron, that occurs in Sakumo. And because that species was protected by the people through their beliefs, it was a taboo to kill the black heron.
She professed the following solutions to reverse the occurrence, lest Ghana reneges on her obligations to the Ramsar and bond conventions to which she is signatory.
We need to prevent people from building in the wetland. We need to prevent people from directing sewage from their homes into the wetland. That's what has happened to Sakumo Lagoon. If you go there now, it is thick mud, basically, rather than open lagoon water. And we need to empower the Wildlife Division to be able to manage the work-class. They are the agency responsible for managing the Ramsar sites in the country.
Yeah, and I felt like I went on an excursion. That looks beautiful.
Very beautiful. The part with the water and the greenery, so lovely.
We have all of that in Accra.
That, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with that?
What we can't say though is that water must be very smelly, I'm sure. That's a problem. It looks beautiful from the screens, but if only we can fix the... Yeah, but the birds, I never knew that there are human beings whose job is actually to count birds.
In Ghana.
Yeah, I'm resigning tomorrow.
Oh, good luck. I hope they're paid well.
How do you say it in Ghana? Me, I can...
I can... low floor.
You don't know how to say bird in your language.
You know, I was going to say... I was going to say afflicity. Well, let's move on to some other stories. And it happened to be the worst day of his life after he received the news of developing a cancer in his breast.
Shocked to what he thought to be an illness suffered only by women, Nana took a dire decision to boycott the treatment process. How has his life panned out going through 4 years of developing a cancer in his breast?
Now, Citi News' Bevel in London interacted with a male survivor of breast cancer and has come through with this report.
Being diagnosed of cancer, not any of the cancers, but breast.
Rarely are they the center of focus, perhaps due to the reason that women are more susceptible to suffering cancers in the breast than men. Though breast cancer is referred to as the leading cause of cancer deaths, most men are ignorant about the possibility of its existence in their breast. According to the World Health Organization, there were over 2 million breast cancer cases globally, with over 600,000 deaths in 2018. Reports further indicate that less than 1% of men are diagnosed with breast cancer, and Nana happens to be among that 1%. Nana identified a lump in his breast in the year 2016.
Initially, when I went to Kolebu, I was diagnosed of a lump in my left breast. It wasn't cancerous. But later, after 2017, after the surgery, the first surgery, I saw that the thing was growing bigger and bigger. So I went back to the Kolebu. Before I was diagnosed, the same place, I was diagnosed of cancer.
Right. So at first it was a lump?
It was a lump.
Were you feeling any pain?
Initially, it wasn't painful. It was something small, some small needle. That's what they call it. Some small needle in my breast.
Going through a series of tests, he had hoped for a favorable report, but the diagnosis came as a shock to him.
You know, sometimes the disease will not kill you, but the way they will tell you, you have this, it can even kill you before the disease kills you. See, Abrante, you check it, you say cancer. That's what he asked me. I sat there more than 3 minutes. I couldn't talk, I couldn't speak. I was just looking at the man. So that was the first time that I was told I have this. It wasn't easy. When I was coming from, because that day I was driving. I needed somebody to drive me from Okolebu to my place. It's not easy. A man being diagnosed of cancer, not any of the cancers, but breast.
An oncology nurse with Cancer Connect GH, Gloria Youngson, says though diagnosis receives such reactions from men, the cancers suffered by both sexes are the same, making it important for men to undergo screening as often as women.
Typically, the kind of breast cancers that men will get is what we call ductal carcinoma. Carcinoma means cancer. About 70% of women get that as well. Now, men, the other one, which is the lobules, that are actually the milk producing, men don't get much of it because mostly they don't produce milk as women do. But then what actually passes the milk out, which is the ducts, is where they would normally get the breast cancer. For women as well, it's like 70% of them do get cancers in the duct and then other parts as well. Men also get similar to women what we call Paget's disease and then what we call the inflammatory kind of breast cancer as well. So same as women will get, men also get the same thing.
The psychological trauma of the diagnosis pushed Nana to take a decision that could have ended his life.
The first day that I was told I had cancer, I thought I was holding my death certificate. I came home, entered my bedroom, nobody was in. I am somebody who don't cry. I don't cry at all. But that day, I wept, I cried. I was asking myself, why me? I stayed more than a year, let's say more than a year, before I went back to Kolebu. By then, the thing was eating me up.
Oh,
yes.
It will.
Yes, it was eating me up. So I went back to Kolebu.
Are the signs for breast cancer in women different in men?
We have typically, or the most common one is a lump in the breast or like a hard nut in the breast. Then we have other changes as well. It could be skin changes on the breast, something like the way the orange peel looks like. You could have that. It could be a rash also. It could be darkening or redness around the breast. Nipple discharge is also one of the signs and symptoms. You could also have nipple inversion as well. So mostly these things are things that is not the norm for the person. So either male or female is not normal.
With the perception of a disease reserved for women, I jumped onto the streets to find out if men had ever undergone breast screening.
These days, we look at the most important or the necessary health problems. That's what I mentioned. So for breast, I don't have any problem with my breast. I don't have breast at all.
No, you have.
I don't have any breast.
You have breast tissues like females, just that ours grow differently and then yours also grow differently. So it's important that you check your breast because you know some men suffer from breast cancer.
Yes, I've heard, but I haven't seen.
I never did.
Why is that?
Because I believe it's women that have those kind of sickness, but men, we don't experience breast cancer. That's my understanding.
So you've not heard that 1% of men worldwide get breast cancer?
I know heard before, Mom. I know heard say men get breast cancer.
Have you ever screened your breast?
No.
Why is that?
Well, I think the education is so minimal. And number two, some of us, we are aware of it, that men also is at risk to getting the cancer. So I think it's only the time factor.
Risk factors for developing breast cancers include obesity, liver diseases, family history with the condition, aging, and exposure to estrogen. Gloria discounts the popular notion that developing cancer in the breast equates to death.
Treatment depends on what we call clinical staging. What is it that you felt? That's from the doctor's point of view. Has it moved anywhere else? So typically, breast cancer will move from the tissues of the breast through to what we call the lymph nodes under the arm, or what we call axillary lymph nodes. Has it moved there? Do you feel anything there? Or has it spread beyond that? And then that would determine the treatment. But the kinds of treatments we have is surgery, which is typically what we prefer, especially when they are within the stage where they can actually have surgery. So that actually takes the lump out, which is good.
Nana has undergone a first surgery, awaiting his second, hoping that it would end the nightmare of suffering from a disease widely known to be suffered by women. But how easy or otherwise has it been for Nana to go through this experience?
Are you exhausted with the whole process?
I must say yes. I must say yes, because the tests, always you go for lab tests. As you called me, I went to Lancet. That's not an about. Because I have some tests to do before I go for a review. Easy.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So you become exhausted. Always you need money. You need money. And medicines to take too. Very expensive.
How do men deal psychologically with the diagnosis of breast cancer?
Men mostly don't believe that they would get breast cancer. If it's cancer, not in the breast, because they don't believe they actually have breasts. So they think that they are flat, but then they have a bit of breast tissue. And rightly so, because that awareness isn't there for them. So it's a shock. Mostly they don't believe it. How? I mean, I'm not female. And also the cultural aspects of where we find ourselves, where if a man is associated with anything female, we see that man is weak. And therefore, to have breast cancer, wow, it's a no-go area. So they suffer a lot more of those stigmas, and especially with the myths surrounding the disease.
The side effects of treating cancer often include the loss of hair, blackening of the fingers and toes, loss of appetite, among others. After detecting cancers, it is important to visit a certified health facility for treatment.
This is still Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. Still ahead on the bulletin. NPP and NDC urge to reintroduce meaningful sources of funding for the various promises made in the health sector.
We'll be right back.
Don't forget the balloons,
check,
the DJ,
check,
and the drinks.
Listen, honey, I've got this party under control, okay?
Daddy, don't forget our birthday cake with the sparkly candles. Daddy, are you there?
The party's at 4 p.m., honey. Don't be late.
With the all-new CowPay on the CowBank app and website, you don't have to worry about carrying cash. Just place your order with your favorite merchant and pay with a Visa or MasterCard, mobile money or CowBank account, or scan and pay. Visit the Play Store or App Store and download the CowBank app today. CowBank app. Forget to cash.
CowBank. Forward.
As a passenger, you have a lot of power in avoiding car accidents. The National Road Safety Authority wants you to use your voice to save lives. Speak up if your driver is overspeeding, drink driving, overtaking wrongfully, or using their mobile phone. And if your driver is tired, please make them stop and rest. Road safety is a shared and collective responsibility. So let's look out for ourselves, protect each other, and arrive alive. Thank you.
Everyone needs you alive. Arrive alive.
What's poppin'? Brand new dramas. That's what. Ethan Hawke leads a group of freedom fighters in the daring battle to end slavery in Mnet's brand new historical miniseries.
We're gonna start a revolution.
And the rebellious daughter must step up and take the reins of her late father's criminal enterprise in Africa Magic's brand new local series.
What do I do?
What else is poppin'? Brand new pop-up channels. That's what's poppin'. We're serving up family dramas and intrigue galore in The Beloved Man on the new telenovelas channel.
Citizens, we cannot allow this situation to go on.
We're packing a punch with the Kung Fu adventures of the Chinese Odyssey on the brand new Kicks channel. And we're going crazy over arts and crafts with Cooksy on the Newsroom channel. So pop on over to DSTV for the best of brand new this month.
During tough times, we need a competent leader we can trust to keep us all safe.
Nana gave me free water
when I needed it most to keep me clean and safe from COVID-19.
Nana gave me lower cost of internet during COVID-19 to operate my small business from home.
Nana told us to trust him to keep our children safe from COVID-19 when we sent them back to school. Nana was right.
Nana gave me free electricity in my hour of need during COVID-19.
Nana told us to trust him to keep Ghana safe from COVID-19.
Cause I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing. Better than you've ever seen. I'm the new best thing. I'm gonna be the king. I bring that ching ching ching. Yeah, I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing.
Discover new Silky Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
You're welcome back. Now, the prioritization of accurate COVID-19 test results is largely responsible for Ghana's third-place position in effective management of COVID-19 in the world. This is according to a Deputy Minister for Health, Bernard Okoboy. The Deputy Minister indicated this when Modec Production Services Ghana Limited, together with its partner, donated over $600,000 worth of laboratory equipment and PPEs, among others. Here is a report.
When the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in China late last year, the government of Ghana was presented with a challenge to save lives, with a focus on limiting the importation of the virus. But when the country recorded its first 2 imported cases in March this year, an additional focus became to limit the community spread of the virus. As part of measures, the National COVID-19 Trust Fund was established to solicit support from individuals, organizations, and international donors to augment government efforts. In line with this, a leading provider of floating solutions in the upstream petroleum industry, Modec Production Services Ghana Limited, together with its partners, has presented to the Ministry of Health over $600,000 worth of testing kits, laboratory equipment, consumables, reagents, and PPE for onward distribution to 4 of the COVID-19 testing centers to boost their capabilities. The managing director of Modec explains the company's motive.
We all know that COVID-19 has been a very powerful pandemic around the world. Modec globally believe in very strong health and safety arrangements for the citizens and its workers. Since the inception of COVID, we have supported through other institutions in various ways to see to it that we actually are able to test, treat, and manage COVID cases. We believe strongly that we should not actually rest on our oars at the moment. We must keep on with the fight until we have eradicated COVID. And we think it's an opportune time to give the testing agencies more capacity to be able to do their job.
Receiving the items on behalf of government, Deputy Minister for Health, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, was optimistic of the positive impact of the donation, while stressing on the role that consistent testing had played in the fight against COVID-19 in the past 8 months.
We've done well because our labs didn't turn their back on us. The policy of tracing, testing, and treating has been very key to Ghana's success story. And let me say that the last time I checked, we had a national active case count of about 514 cases. Well, our objective still is to do 0 active cases in the shortest possible time. And that will be possible with partnership like these.
So with health and a health expert with the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Gordon Abeka Nkrumah is urging the 2 major political parties to go back to their drawing boards and produce meaningful sources of funding for their various promises on health. According to him, the resources of the country are fixed, hence there is a need to figure out a more efficient allocation of resources in order to adequately fund their respective promises
if voted into power.
Now, Dr. Gordon Abekan Nkrumah was speaking at an engagement with the MPP and the NDC on their manifestos in the area of health, organized by Send Ghana.
The Minister of Finance will tell you agriculture is important, it's got to be prioritized. He will tell you roads, it's important, it's got to be prioritized. So I think that it's got to be a bigger discussion within the sector in the context of how do we become efficient and reallocate resources, because we are not going to have new resources. So for instance, we have health insurance. In terms of utilization of that fund, are we being very efficient? I don't think so. Okay, so the conversation is going to be, how do we get more from every city that we deploy into the sector? So for instance, if you look at right now, the Ministry of Health's budget, about 60% of the budget goes into compensation. My question is that an efficient way of allocating health resources? Do we have possibilities to be able to get more? And the two political parties are all talking about increasing the number of health workforce. And I'm asking myself, can we find a way of making sure that what is already available, we put it to a better use? Because if you increase, you probably are going to go up. And remember that the health sector compensation budget is moved up from 51%, okay, to about 60%. So can we continue to grow it like that?
Well, that's it for today's edition of Citi Newsroom. Log on to our website, citinewsroom.com, for more stories.
You can also subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV.
Download the Citi Newsroom app from the Google Play Store and keep updated on the go.
You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363.